Will really is the heart and soul of season 5. We cast this young boy, Luke. He's a great little actor, and he bore a resemblance to a young Noah Schnapp. Noah really took Luke under his wing.
When I was younger, I would widen my eyes so big, and like the way I would tremble in my mouth.
I didn't speak to the kid at all.
Really?
yeah, just was like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna try and make sure that he's as freaked out as possible.
Was he freaked out?
I hope so, I really do.
When I initially read the script for this, I was blown away by how vivid it was. We open on Castle Byers in a shot that's now become pretty iconic.
My little childhood home, I filmed in that same exact setup when I was 10 years old. So then revisiting it as a 20-year-old is fun and very nostalgic.
We basically are thrown right into the action, picking up where the memory left off in season 1. And we wanted it to feel like a continuation of that experience with a young Will Byers.
That's where Weta comes in. Weta is one of the greatest visual effects companies in the world. They're behind the Lord of the Rings. So if there was any company that could pull this off, we thought it would be Weta.
One of the most important things is making sure that we can track the work we have to do onto the young actor.
For young Will, we did motion capture dots on his face.
We had to have a lot of extra, what we call witness cams. We had 2 that were actually attached to the main camera, and we had an additional 4 kind of hidden in the forest so that on every shot we had as many angles as possible on his face.
We also had Noah around for all of these scenes to essentially direct Luke and be like, this is how I was acting when I was a kid and how I would react to this situation. Noah really took Luke under his wing.
It was really cool working with him. There was such little technical things, like when I was younger, I would like widen my eyes so big, and like the way I would tremble in my mouth and like in my fingers.
We had Noah act out all the moments in the scenes in a little tent, and we had a bunch of cameras there sort of capturing his facial reactions, which was an odd experience for us and Noah, being like, you know, you're climbing a tree and the Demogorgon's coming for you, and it was strange. Do it with a little more like a little more like survival comes in and like
less fear.
Okay. And it bursts through.
Weta can take the motion from Luke and apply it to the model of Noah's face. So we feel like this is Noah at 11 running through that forest.
So right here, for example, on his temple, he has like a little bit of like wetness and goo on him. And then there's even single strands of hair that are disrupted and just make it a little more chaotic. That is not the stand-in. That is something that Weta created from scratch.
One of the best things about Stranger Things as a show is the commitment that the brothers have to shooting as much as they can in camera as possible, and that extends to sets like the Upside Down Woods, where our set deck and SFX teams put out upside down nether over a football field-sized section of woods.
It's miles and miles of this stuff. I believe it was 3 semi-trailers full. It took about 20 people 3 weeks to do that.
I think we bought up about every pool noodle in the United States in order to create the vines in the Upside Down this year.
For like Red Lightning, you'll see Matt or Ross, they're like a conductor at a symphony, you know, and every time they want a Red Lightning, they'll just go like, so that it's sort of in sync with like where they imagine those beats happening.
I don't think the average person realizes how many pieces are required to put together this seamless, high-intensity sequence of climbing an incredibly high tree and jumping from one to another whilst being pursued by a Demogorgon. For me in my department, the biggest trick is the dance of figuring out all of the individual physical pieces we need to provide, and in what order and in what environment. A blue screen environment, are we providing it on location in the forest? It ends up being a feat of very complex coordination.
We had those trees at the stages, and so we had sort of rehearsed and preset what the climbing was going to be.
Ready, set, and action.
We had to measure each little step and movement.
The performer has to jump from this tree to that tree. So we kind of dial that in, right? Like, let's just get her from here to there. And once we have that worked out, now let's start putting some performance into it. Now let's start making it a little bit messy so it doesn't look so perfect and it looks more like a kid flailing through the air, not quite sure if he's gonna make it. Kelly Barksdale, our young Will stunt double, she was climbing trees and running through the forest.
As a double, she has to be that person. So it's their responsibility to watch that actor and sort of figure out how they move, what their quirky moves are, how they, all that to incorporate into what they're doing with the stunt.
There are no CG digi doubles in this full body. That is Kelly hitting branches herself, and that is impressive.
That was a big moment this year, right? When we got to see Vecna again. It had been several years.
There was this weird, excited silence as we stepped on set. It was just an overwhelming feeling of doing something really special again. It's rare you get the opportunity to revisit something like that.
It was really great because it just, we just kind of fell back into it again. Everybody knew exactly what it was that we were doing. That excitement was there.
Vecna is the most extensive makeup I've ever done in my career. There's not a centimeter of Jamie on show, actually, apart from maybe his eyelids, but he's covered in some form of rubber.
On a typical Vecna day, we'll apply the makeup, which takes close to 6.5 hours. Then you shoot a full day, which can be up to 12 hours. And then you have to take him out of the makeup, which is about another hour.
Season 1, we actually shot in the library basement of a real library, which was very difficult to get equipment down there to light it properly. So we recreated the basement on stage, which made it easier for art department to create that look with the vines.
It was a little tricky to light because there weren't that many windows and everything was so dark in there. We kind of leaned into those window wells to create some very hard shadows. But then you also have these more specular hard lights that give you like that creepy glisten off of his skin and off the vines as they move around.
It was just amazing how quickly Jamie just snapped back into it.
I just remember doing that catwalk and all of a sudden it just felt like I was on stage. I was like, oh, I love this feeling. Again, dead quiet, pin dropping.
It was an awesome moment and also a haunting moment to watch on screen and to see him interacting with young Will.
You and I, we are going to do such beautiful things together, William.
I didn't speak to the kid at all.
Really?
yeah, just was like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna try and make sure that he's as freaked out as possible.
Was he freaked out?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. I really do.
As an opening sequence, I think it is perfect for this season because it reveals to us a moment that we had never seen before in season 1.
Seeing Vecna with Will and revealing that they do have a connection. It's going to be hopefully satisfying and chilling, but also raise a lot of questions that we're going to answer over the course of the season.